Hey guys, welcome to Heart to Talk, the podcast. I am your host, Teresa Caesar, and you are listening to episode 46. Have you realized how your life can change so much within a year? As you look back through your year and the changes that have occurred, how did you respond to them? Are you happy about your choices? And do you feel like you are the director of your life? If you're looking for tips on how you can empower yourself in your life, you're going to love this episode. I am bringing back for the third time my beautiful friend, Lacey Grijalva, to tell us about her incredible transformative year. She has transformed her life from the inside out. She's taken responsibility and released being a victim of circumstances that were out of her control and decided to step into the most beautiful version of herself. And the best part is that she's going to share how she's gotten her groove back and how you can too. Friends, I bring to you my conversation with my dearest friend, Lacey Grijalva. Welcome back to your bestie show.
I feel so fortunate and so lucky to be back.
Guess who's back? Back in town. You are one of the most amazing, resilient, beautiful souls I know. The impact you make just in your life and the people around you, but bring that on this platform.
I think that through my own journey, there's just so much that I feel I can share with people who have either been in the same situation or going through something that helped me. And if I can help or encourage somebody else to do the same, then I'm here for it. I'm ready.
Do you think you can give our listeners just a quick summary before we dive in?
So a year ago, I lost Carlos, who was the father of 3 of my kids. We were together 27 years since high school. I think we can have multiple soulmates in life, but I believe for that 27 years, he was my soulmate. We were above anything, best friends, and then partners and parents. And so it wasn't anything that we expected. We did not plan for his death. We had no idea it was going to happen the morning it happened. And so June 2nd will be a year that he passed away. We would have never thought that a year later I would be sitting here talking about him not being here with us anymore.
What's the biggest lesson Carlos's death has taught you?
I think the biggest lesson that his death has taught me would be to live in every moment. Not necessarily like it's my last, but like it's the best moment I'm going to live. I was with Carlos for 27 years, and my focus was trying to focus on what I thought I wanted him to be instead of enjoying who he was, because he was an amazing person and he had so much love to give. But instead of just loving him and enjoying the moments for who he was when he was here, I was always looking at, okay, tomorrow we're going to try this because then maybe this will help you. Instead of just saying, I love you. Like, I am with you for who you are and all of your faults. And we're going to enjoy today and worry about tomorrow when it comes. And so the biggest lesson that I've learned is that I can't change people to be something that I think they can be, but maybe who they are is just perfect for them and perfect for where they are in their life.
Think of the energy it takes mentally, physically, emotionally to want to change someone.
Absolutely. And it's out of your control. I think for a lot of us, we want to be in control and become almost obsessive about and try to make it our job to change it to what we think it should be. And it's not our job. It is not our job. Your job is to take care of you and focus on you. And it's out of your control. You cannot try to change them into something that you think they should be, because what if your idea is not their idea and they're perfectly happy at where they're at? And so I just think that goes with anything, with relationships, friendships.
That's a beautiful lesson. So let's go into this next point. Lacey, tell us about giving yourself permission to move on.
Right after Carlos died, I felt very alone. I didn't know what my future was going to look like. I would have never imagined meeting anybody, or I really thought I was going to go into a rabbit hole and just miss him forever, because that's all I knew for 27 years. And it wasn't until I met up with an old friend from high school. It was just a conversation over coffee that changed my world. So this friend from high school really took the time to sit and listen and talk to me, would send me beautiful quotes, videos on grief. And that just opened my heart to realize that I can have new friendships, men, women, and it doesn't have to mean that I'm forgetting Carlos or letting go of Carlos. It just means that I'm moving on with my life. It made me realize that when Carlos passed away, a piece of me he took with him, but a whole bunch of me is still alive. And if I do not choose to live, then what is the purpose of my life? How am I going to be a better mom? How am I going to be a better friend if all I'm doing is sitting and mourning and being depressed all the time? And I can remember it was in August and I had gone out and I met a really sweet person, and somebody saying to me, "Oh my God, like Carl's just died. You're not ready." And it was this judgment right away. I remember in that moment telling myself, I will not allow anybody to change my perception on where my journey is going and where my life is going. As long as I'm happy and I work on myself, nobody knows what I've gone through or what I'm going through. And so I allowed myself to meet people. It didn't mean I was going to get married. I was going to move in with them. I was going to change my last name. None of that. It just allowed me to open my heart. And when I did that, I'm telling you, it was like this whole new world opened up. Men, women that were just touching my life in ways that I never thought could through this grieving process. And so I tell people, even to this day, it doesn't matter if I waited a year, 10 years, 5 years. Carlos is always going to be a part of my life. He's always going to be somebody who means something of importance to me. He's the father of my children. But I had to allow myself to open my heart, not necessarily to fall in love, but to allow people to come in and show me different types of love. I think whether you've dealt with a loss, a separation, a divorce, a breakup, whatever it is, there is a grieving process you go through, but there's no timeline that tells you you have to wait this amount of time before you're allowed to go out and meet somebody or whatever it is. There's no timeline. You shouldn't feel guilty about living your life. If you are still here and you are healthy, you are mentally capable of accepting whatever happens out of these relationships, then I think go for it. It doesn't bring anything but joy. And everybody that I've met from Carlos's death till now has brought nothing but joy to my life. And they have been the most respectful people I have ever met. And when I hear people say, like, there's nobody in Tucson, Tucson has been nothing but love for me. And I hope that whomever hears this and is going through some kind of loss, whatever your definition of loss is, I hope that you realize that you are worth happiness and you are worth everything that you ever dreamed of in your life, and that it is okay to go and meet people. It doesn't mean you're going to get married tomorrow. It doesn't mean that you're like all of a sudden you're in love. It just means that you are opening up your heart to accept more love. And there is nothing wrong with having an abundance of love in your life.
Okay, you just said something really powerful. You said Tucson's got nothing but love for me. Your story, your thoughts, and your belief is what allowed you to attract beautiful people, beautiful experiences into your life. And this is such an important, I guess, tip and also lesson for those that are listening. What is your story around love? Of course, the people that are saying Tucson's got no one, this is this. Guess what? They're not coming to you because that's your belief. Universe is listening loud and clear, whether you say it out loud or not. Can I just say you are the man magnet for not just men? She's just like the fun magnet, the amazing miracle magnet, beautiful blessings magnet. Something horrific happened, but you show up every day with a smile, doing your best, loving life. Tell us about how you are such a super attractor.
You got to like make this eye contact, and there's an unspoken language just in the eyes. I really believe it.
That was Lacey's game, man. She was like, right here, eyes, laser focus.
Look into my eyes.
But yes, so tell us, besides eye contact.
You know, for me, it's waking up every day and getting those negative thoughts out of my head. So when I wake up in the morning, whether it's a work day or a weekend, whatever it is, I always try to clear my head of anything, whether it's sadness, whether it's I'm angry, whether it's something that happened, whether it's the kids, whatever it is, I try to make sure to clear it and think of something positive. Okay, today I would like to go into work and make a coworker smile, or today I want to accomplish this. And when I do, I'm going to feel so good. I try to do things that are obtainable and things that I know I can accomplish and feel good about. And that's my focus. And that's a positive focus all day. So with that, I think that carries on to your personal, social, life, whatever you're doing. So whenever I was going to the club, I made sure to feel good about myself and know that I'm never going to put myself in competition with anybody. I'm 43. When I was going out, there's like some 21-year-olds there. And so I learned as I matured in age, I am not going to go out and compare myself to somebody else. If somebody's going to talk to me, it's going to be because they like me for who I am. I feel when I'm that positive, you attract positive people. I have not had one negative interaction, one negative experience. Everybody I have met and who has come into my life since Carlos has been nothing but a positive experience, and great humans, incredible humans who have touched my soul, who've accepted me, who have accepted me as a mother with 3 girls. And I truly believe it's because I've gone out with this mentality. I think so many people are like, oh, these guys are rude, or I hate men, or all men are alike, or men or women, whatever your flow is. Like, they just go with this preconceived experiences they've had. So they make others suffer. And then that's what you attract because you're already thinking it. You already have that negative thought. But if you change it, I promise you, with the eye contact, you are going to be blown away.
I love it. So first is we're going to set ourselves up by getting our mind positive, ready, and show up to work that way. Be the light at work, in your family. And then when you go out, wherever you are, friends, social, right? Do the eye contact.
Eye contact.
And don't compare yourself. And I would say that last one too is like that openness. Be kind and accept the abundance of love, attention, compliments, even if it might not be your type.
Yeah, I think that we all have this idea of what our perfect man would be. And so you can keep that idea, but you need to know that there's no such thing as perfect. So maybe in my head, I'm like, I want this man who is tall, good hair, got the green eyes, a little fit. But I go out and I meet a tall man, doesn't have the green eyes, but still looks pretty good. Why not? He might not be this guy out of my head, but he may be better. He may treat me like the way that I need to be treated when this man in my head may have been a total jerk.
And he got to stay in that head.
Yeah, you got to get him out.
We're not going to let him manifest.
We need to be more accepting of things that maybe we normally wouldn't be. If I was to show you different people I've met, nobody looks the same. Nobody even looks like Carlos. But in accepting them and getting to know them, it has been just a beautiful experience. And it's opened my eyes to this picture or this list that you have in your head, yes, you deserve all of that. But if they don't have the green eyes and they have the brown eyes, still give them a chance. So you need to be open and honest with yourself on really what do you want, and then give it a chance. And if it doesn't work, it's not the end of the world. I think that's the other thing too, that as people, we've talked about this, you attach yourself to these things instead of just taking it for the experience and being able to open yourself. You become attached. And then sometimes that's a negative attachment and you don't realize it. And then you can't let go. And it's harder to move on and to love it because you still have that attachment there.
Thanks for that, girl. So another thing, being real when you feel pain and it hurts, you could still be equally happy. It's like a paradox.
When the pain comes from missing Carlos or something else, I need to allow myself to be honest with myself and not try to mask it or pretend like it's not there. I just let it happen. Pain is real and it's going to happen, and it's going to happen to me again. It might not be as deep as losing Carlos, but it's going to hurt. And I accept it. But I also know how to get myself out of it. And I've done a lot of self-work, just worked on my own mental health, worked on what makes me happy, what makes me confident. And so that when I am in a dark place like that, or something does happen where it hurts, I'm able to feel the pain and work through it. If we ignore the pain and put it away or pretend like it's not there, it's going to come back, and it might come back more powerful. It might come back stronger. It might come back in a time when you have no reason to be mad or upset. It's just going to come and it's going to hit you. And it may even be more confusing. You may not even know why it hurts in that moment, but it's from something in the past that you didn't deal with. And so for me, in each of those moments, whether it is about Carlos or something else, I allow myself. I have to go through that pain. Sometimes I'll call, my friends and say I'm having a moment. Sometimes on social media, I'll put a quote and a picture of Carlos, or sometimes I'm just at home and I cry and I tell my kids, Mommy needs some time, and I'll put on music. I have a playlist. It's Carlos's playlist, and I'll put it on and I'll just sit there and cry. But I know I will get out of it. I just have to feel it. And for anybody going through anything in life, you have to go through that pain. You just have to be open and honest with yourself and allow yourself to feel these emotions and know it's okay, and know that you're going to come out. You might come out a little dirty. You might come out a little bit scarred, but you're going to come out and you're going to be okay.
There's no way around it but through it. So
there's no way around it but through it.
I want to talk about the power in wanting the other to win. We're so focused on the comparison.
We've talked about it starting really young and empowering young women and men to lift each other up, because it starts as young kids, especially with social media. And so we've seen it, both of us, when we've gone out and you walk into a room and there's other girls there. And this is just a perspective as a woman. I'm sure men go through the same thing. We walked into a room and there were two young girls who were gorgeous. And we smiled and they didn't smile back. But it wasn't until we took the step to tell them how beautiful they were and gave them a compliment that it was like this sigh of relief left them. And they turned around and they smiled, they laughed, they talked to us. Sometimes you have to be the bigger person and take that step to tell somebody, you look really good today, or you did a really good job, or I love how that looks on you. To take that weirdness out, because for whatever reason in society, we carry this competition with one another. And you should never be in competition with somebody else. You should never compare yourself to somebody else, because you're not meant to be them. You are meant to be you and the perfect version of you. So then what you need to decide is, what does that look like? Whatever the perfect version of you is, that's what you should be in competition with. If you are going somewhere and saying, I'm insecure because there's a lot of girls there and they're beautiful, well, you're just as beautiful. You just need to walk in there and make those connections with people and break the ice. And for me, I feel better about myself not going somewhere and comparing myself to somebody else, or, even in a job, you feel more confident in your job when you are just in competition with yourself and
Mhm.
doing the best you can than saying, oh, that person has the same position as me there. I'm going to do much better and make them look. No, but for what? For what? There's that negative energy coming back, and then
Mhm.
it's going to be a domino effect. If you just learn to give compliments, then you receive more compliments.
Mm.
If you learn to help and support somebody because you truly want to see them succeed, you're going to succeed. You feel better about yourself. You feel better when you see those around you having success, being happy, and then you just attract happy. And things will go bad, things will be sad, but you learn to get out of them faster. You got to give to receive. So you
Mhm.
give off support, you give off love, and you receive all that in return. It doesn't necessarily always have to be tangible. You can give off things that you can't touch or hold, and you can receive them in return, and you receive them so much more abundant when you give.
Beautiful, Lacey. That's so well said. What you've done in 1 year takes someone maybe a whole lifetime or never. And that's not to compare journeys.
Yeah.
But in this 1 year, Lacey, you've blossomed into this gorgeous soul. So, how did you find your groove? What's the secret, Lacey, to getting your groove back and how others can do it too?
For me, it was learning to love myself again. For 27 years, like I said, my focus was Carlos. And not to say I did not love every 27 years with him, but when you're together with somebody for so long and that's all you really know, you lose who you are. And it wasn't anything that Carlos did, it wasn't anything he told me, it was everything I did. I lost myself in loving him and focusing on him so much that I lost who I was. And so that meant like I gained weight. I think my mind was always just so focused on what I could do to make him better when I needed to make myself better in order to make anybody around me better. And
Mm.
so when he passed, I realized that I just maybe wasn't happy with who I was. And all these years, I had just let myself go and kind of lost focus of who I was, that I decided to re-fall in love with who I was. And so
Mm.
that meant working out. That meant journaling, talking myself into things, starting to go out, making better connections with my girls, with my friends, just starting this list of things that I wanted to do that I didn't necessarily do before. And so I had always wanted a tummy tuck. And it wasn't anything that was going to change um, the way others looked at me, because I don't always show my stomach, but it was going to change how I felt about myself. I found the Lacey that I loved. And
Mm.
in doing that, I feel like I got my groove back. And I didn't get my tummy tuck until March. I didn't want to do that part until I knew that I was happy with who I was, because tummy tuck or not a tummy tuck, it wasn't going to change who I am. I found a new appreciation for life. I found a new appreciation for new clothes. Just kidding.
Oh, yeah. And I borrow those clothes. I'm like, ooh, girl.
I just want so badly for people to love themselves enough to live the life they deserve.
Mm.
And so if you're not happy in your job, your relationship, maybe you're going through something, whatever it is, love yourself enough to know it can get better. You just need to take the first step. My first step was getting out of the house and coming back to work and putting myself out there and seeing people. And then I started taking other steps to doing other things, getting up, working out. You got to figure out what you want to do. How are you going to love the best version of you, and how are you going to get there? And in doing that, you're going to get your groove back.
Oh, boom, boom, boom. And you know what? I love that you said you. It all starts and ends with you. You have to take the radical responsibility, embrace accountability.
Mm-hmm.
No one else going to do it for you.
Mm-mm. And nobody else is going to make you happy. I think that's a misconception. People think they need money, they need the spouse, you are going to make yourself happy. If you want that, you got to work on you first and then go get that stuff. But you're the only one that's going to make yourself happy.
Beautiful. Lacey, can you share with us a quick little summary of this beautiful mission, Project Freedom?
Absolutely. So Project Freedom birthed out of Carlos's death, and it was a way for my healing journey to progress and for my kids as well. And so I talk about it in the other episodes of your podcast. Carlos dealt with life issues, addiction, depression, and he was never really able to live in his true freedom of what he really wanted to do. And so through his death, I thought it was important to storytell other people who have dealt with different barriers in life and how they are living in their freedom today. And so freedom doesn't necessarily mean you're going to live this perfect life, but it means to live your best life that you can and that you are following in what you believe. And so I've had different guests on who have had incredible stories about things they have faced in life and how they're living their best life today. And we're going to continue that. And I'm hoping to start the new year with Freedom becoming a nonprofit. And so in his honor, it's been an amazing healing process for me, meeting new people, sharing this platform with them, and just getting the feedback from other people who have really taken what they said and been touched by it. And that's just the power of storytelling and listening to others, and how even if they change one life, to me, it will all be worth it.
So powerful. I'm so proud of you.
I'm proud of you, girl.
All right. The ending question. So the first one, what are 1 to 2 of your favorite affirmations to help you stay in your power and remain positive?
Okay, so the first one I just heard this weekend, actually, and I really love it. And I've been saying it every morning when I wake up. It says, I let the past go so I can grow.
Love it. And the second question, what is this chapter of your life called?
It's called Freedom.
Ooh.
I love this chapter.
I'm glad I'm in this chapter.
Girl, you're on this chapter too.
I'm a co-character. Not a co-character.
You're one of the main characters in this chapter.
I'm one of the main characters. I get to be in it a lot. Oh, I love it. Okay. And the last question, what do you want to be remembered by? What do you want your legacy to be?
Well, I always want to be remembered as a good mom because I want my kids to love me. But if we're talking about everybody, I want them to remember these 3 things. She lived, she loved, she laughed. Because at the end of the day, if I didn't live my life, and if I didn't love, and if I didn't laugh, then I don't even know that I had a happy journey. But if I lived my life and loved and laughed, which I have, then that's all I want people to remember me by.
Thank you all so much for tuning into this episode. I do hope that you enjoyed my inspiring conversation with Lacey Grijalva. Please remember to download this episode and any of your other favorite Heart to Talk episodes. Also, be sure to follow this podcast, rate, and share this with everyone you know. Also, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram, where I share lots of updates regarding this podcast and other projects that I'm involved with. Otherwise, friends, I'll be back in 2 weeks.